Let's talk about something no one really warns you about when you start healing. Because the way healing is advertised is very different from how it actually feels. They tell you healing will make your relationships better, that you'll become calmer, kinder, easier to love. They say once you heal, everything aligns. But here's the part they leave out. Healing doesn't make you nicer. It makes you less available. Less available for confusion. Less available for emotional chaos. Less available for people who only felt comfortable with you when you were over-giving, over-explaining, and over-tolerating. And that's why something unexpected happens. When you start healing, some people don't move closer. They pull away. Maybe this feels familiar. You've done the work, or at least you've started. You're more self-aware now. You think before you react. You communicate with more clarity. You don't abandon yourself as quickly as you used to. But instead of everything getting better, some relationships feel colder. Some conversations feel shorter. Some people seem less invested, and you hear it, sometimes directly, sometimes subtly. You've changed. You're different now. You're not as easy as you used to be. And quietly, internally, a question forms. Did healing make me harder to love? Am I becoming too much? Why does growth feel like it's costing me, people? If you've been there, this isn't a sign that something went wrong. It's a sign that something shifted. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people aren't ready to hear. Most people don't connect to your healed self the same way they connected to your wounded one. Because your unhealed self was more accommodating, more flexible with disrespect, more patient with inconsistency, more willing to explain your pain instead of protecting it. Your unhealed self stayed longer than it should have, gave more than it received, waited for clarity instead of choosing peace. But your healed self, it has edges, it has limits, it has standards that don't need justification. It no longer negotiates self-respect, and that changes the entire emotional economy of your relationships, because healing removes your emotional availability to dysfunction. Why healing feels like rejection? This is where people get confused, because healing feels empowering internally, but externally it can feel like rejection. Here's why. When you heal, 3 subtle but powerful shifts happen. First, you stop over-functioning emotionally. You stop being the one who carries the emotional weight, keeps things alive, smooths over tension, explains what the other person meant. And when you stop doing that, the imbalance becomes obvious. Some relationships were never mutual. They were maintained by your emotional labor. When that labor stops, the connection weakens. Not because you failed, but because you stopped compensating. Second, you stop explaining yourself excessively. Healed people don't over-justify boundaries. They don't soften every truth to make it easier to swallow. They don't say, "I'm sorry, but I hope you don't take this the wrong way. I don't want to seem difficult." They say, "This doesn't work for me." And that level of clarity is deeply uncomfortable for people who relied on your self-doubt. Third, you stop chasing emotional reciprocity. You no longer convince people to meet you emotionally. You observe, you notice patterns, you assess behavior, and you let people reveal how invested they truly are. For people who were used to being pursued, this feels like abandonment, even though it's actually balance. You've changed. What it really means when someone says, "You've changed," what they often mean is, "You're no longer responding in a way that benefits me." Healing doesn't harden your heart. It sharpens your awareness. You still care. You're still compassionate. You're still capable of deep love. But you are no longer emotionally accessible to patterns that drain you. And not everyone can follow you into that new level of relating. The loneliness phase. No one talks about this is the part no one prepares you for. There is a loneliness phase after healing, not because something is wrong with you, but because you've outgrown old emotional contracts. You no longer bond through chaos. You don't mistake intensity for intimacy. And until new aligned connections enter, there is space, quiet, distance, stillness. This phase feels uncomfortable because you're no longer distracted by emotional turbulence. But this space is not emptiness. It's integration. It's your nervous system learning what calm feels like without needing drama to feel alive. Why healed people disappoint others. Here's another hard truth. Healed people disappoint others more often, not because they're cruel, but because they're clear. They say no without guilt. They leave when patterns don't change. They don't reward potential over behavior. They don't stay just to be understood. They choose alignment over attachment, and that disappoints people who benefited from your emotional flexibility. What healing changes about love? Healing doesn't make love harder. It makes misalignment impossible to ignore. You begin to notice things you used to rationalize away. Who listens without becoming defensive? Who adjusts behavior, not just words? Who respects your boundaries without punishing you for them? Who grows with you instead of resisting your evolution? Love after healing feels calmer, slower, less dramatic, and to people addicted to emotional highs and lows, that calm can feel unfamiliar, even boring. But this is the soil where secure love actually grows. You are not losing people, you are filtering. This is the reframe that changes everything. You are not losing people because you healed. You are revealing who could only stay when you were unhealed. Healing is not about becoming easier to love. It's about becoming clearer to choose. And clarity will always reduce numbers, but increase quality. If you're in this phase right now, hold on to this. Don't chase people who resist your growth. Don't shrink to preserve familiarity. Don't apologize for emotional self-respect. Don't confuse loneliness with regression. This phase passes, and when it does, the connections that enter your life will feel different. Mutual, steady, unforced. You won't have to perform emotional labor to be chosen. Conclusion: healing doesn't isolate you, it protects you. It removes access from people who only knew how to love the version of you that overgave. And it prepares you for relationships that don't require self-betrayal to survive. If you're losing people right now, pause before blaming yourself. You might not be losing love. You might be losing misalignment. And that is not a loss. That is progress. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.